Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be my League Starter leveling guide for Demonform for 0.4 Path of Exile 2. Decided to go back to my favorite archetype. Obviously I leveled ED Contagion, but I'm just gonna quickly explain all the choices I made along the way. Ooh, lovely. I'm just gonna quickly explain all the choices I made along the way, how I got to tier 15 maps. Just to quickly showcase the map, this was the waystone I got from my tier 15 empowered boss. It was a 5 mod waystone, and I just decided, you know what, let's try it, even though it had 40% more monster life. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't an easy map. I had to dodge a lot, and you know, I couldn't just speed run it. But still, I got through it. Right before the end, I also got an acceleration shrine, so the boss was way easier because of that. But still, this is a quick explanation on how we got to this point. So, from level 1, let's start. Very quickly about the Val temples. Along the way, I would recommend you should do Val temples, so the new League mechanic, the incursion mechanic, for like the first 2 acts, maybe in the 3rd act also. After that, you should probably just stop. They kind of take a lot of time and take a lot of time away from progressing through the campaign. That is also why I took so long. Some people still haven't gotten probably to tier 15 maps, but you know, some people got to tier 15 maps in like 6 hours or 8 hours. So for me, it took this long because I always like to take my first character easy. I don't like to rush my League starter. Obviously, the next characters, when you have a bit of gear and a bit of twink items, twink uniques on the side, it's easier to rush them, but for my first character, I always like to kind of take it chill. So very quickly, I have a few notes here. For the items that I would like to recommend, I really have to point this out because I got very lucky. Like at level 30, I think, I got the Pariah's Embrace, which for, you know, taking Demonform as your first Ascendancy, obviously that was my first Ascendancy I took, the 10 stacks Demonform. For your first Ascendancy, Pariah's Embrace is actually an insanely good item. I already sold mine because I didn't need it anymore, and currency is right now valuable. So you get a lot of life regen, you get a lot of spirit, attributes, and increased mana cost efficiency. So for the campaign, and basically up until tier 10 maps, I think, I was just using Pariah's Embrace because it's a really nice unique to have. A second unique that I wouldn't recommend going all the way up to tier 15 maps, but that is also really good for the campaign, would be the Prisoner's Manacles, which I dropped probably at around level 45, can't remember exactly. I do have VODs of my leveling. Today I didn't record going through tier 5 to tier 15 maps. I don't have a recording of that because we were sorting out some technical issues at home, trying to get the camera and the sound and everything to work nicely. But still, I wanted to make this video now that I have the option to. This is really a really good unique for Demonform leveling because you get a lot of, again, life regeneration, some life and lightning resistance. Debuffs you inflict have increased slow magnitude, and I do like leveling with Blasphemy, so, you know, it just gives you a nice efficiency on your Blasphemy as well. And the only thing I would like to point out is it does have this cannot immobilize enemies, so if you are playing a build that wants to freeze, spin, heavy stun, or electrocute your enemies, I wouldn't recommend using this. I would probably recommend just using Duadris Tandem, which are the unique gloves that most people typically use for Duadris Tenure, which are the unique gloves that people will typically use for leveling Demonform, because it does give you a lot of spell damage for your Essence Drain and Contagion. Do keep in mind, even though it has a lot of reduced cast speed, you basically don't care about that when you're playing ED Contagion, or you don't care that much, because you typically just have to cast one combo and then a few packs of monsters get deleted by the spells. So that would be for the uniques. Otherwise, just make sure you're, as you can see, I'm still, my gear is really not all that strong. Maybe I'll just showcase the gear really quickly on what I was working with. This is all, how should I call it, solo self-found in a way. So everything that you see here, I found, crafted, whatever myself. This focus is still from the campaign. These boots I got during the campaign, and the wand, no, the wand not, yeah. But the how are they called? The gloves, the boots, the focus, this was all still during the campaign, and this is what got me through the tier 15 map as well. So let's go quickly through the skills that you would probably want to use. For Essence Drain, you would typically start by leveling your Essence Drain, after that leveling your Bone Storm, which is your bossing spell, and then leveling Contagion. I would like to point out the 3rd and 4th slot, so 4-link, 5-link Contagion is probably not necessary. You probably don't even need the cast speed here. I did decide to slot in cast speed because Contagion does have quite a long cast time. But other than that, you would probably want to first focus on your Essence Drain, then Bone Storm, and then Contagion. Everything else, basically, I was not using during the campaign. I was using Blasphemy, Withering Presence, sorry. I was not using Raging Spirits and Ember Fusilade. I will explain why these come in handy during mapping, once you start mapping. But you would definitely want first to take Essence Drain with Chain, upgrade Chain when you can, Swift Affliction, upgrade Swift Affliction when you can, and then for the end, Intense Agony. Please keep in mind, if you are doing a lot of damage, if you have Intense Agony, you want to cast your Essence Drain first before you cast your Contagion, because Intense Agony only works on monsters that have full life. If you're doing way too much damage, you would probably just want to, and like your Essence Drain already kills the mobs before Contagion even hits them, you would probably want to take out Intense Agony and just use Considered Casting or something like that here. For the Contagion, all you really need for the campaign is Magnified Area and Unleash. Your first gem should always be Unleash, then get Magnified Area 1 and upgrade it to 2 when you can. For Bone Storm, just use Brutality. After that, I would slot in Burgeon, and then once you get support skill gems level 5, you can also add Heft. But for most of the campaign, I had it like this with Considered Casting, and then for the mapping, I also got Heft here. That's basically for the skills. For Blasphemy, of course, you just want to use Ritualistic Curse and Magnified Area. For the map, for the tier 15 map that I just did, I got a Greater Jeweler's Orb, but the map was finished without leveling quality on Blasphemy. I did this after the map because I got the 4th slot and I wanted to put in Heightened Curse. Or I got the 5-link and I wanted to use Heightened Curse as well, but for the map I actually just had 0 quality Blasphemy with Temporal Chains, Ritualistic Curse and Magnified Area. Now, to just quickly explain why I'm using Raging Spirit with only prolonged duration and Ember Fusilade with Swift Affliction compressed duration, both of these basically just reduce the duration of Ember Fusilade so that it shoots out faster, so that the hover duration of the Ember Fusilade is not too long, because if you see, if I remove both of these, the hover duration of Ember Fusilade is way longer. But yeah, Living Lightning too, because I am using a wand that gains 15% of damage as extra lightning, which means we are dealing lightning damage and we are also getting minions from this. So basically what we are doing with Ember Fusilade, and once again, shout out to Hungry Boots Gaming. If you guys like Demonform, if you guys like anything Demonform related, please go to his channel, follow him, subscribe, support the guy. He has really amazing builds and ideas when it comes to Demonform. I think he's been doing Demonform videos since 0.1. Every league he has incredibly cool builds, so I would really like to shout out his idea here on why we are using this. So Bone Storm, during the campaign, Bone Storm even in and of itself is enough. Bone Storm has this mechanic where it inflicts impales, and impales kind of saves or how should it, yeah, saves a bit of your damage, magnitude as impale stacks on the enemy. And then when you attack the enemy, so attack hits, actually extract those impales and deal damage based on the damage that you did before. Now during the campaign I didn't need it because the bosses just died way too fast and I never found it necessary to actually use it. However, once I started mapping, I saw that it's actually really useful, really nice to use. So how this actually works is you have Raging Spirits, Ember Fusilade, and before the boss will spawn in, you will just cast Ember Fusilade This will hit the boss, spawn Raging Spirits and Living Lightning, and then the impale that you inflict on the boss via Bone Storm will actually get extracted by the attack hits from Raging Spirits and the Living Lightning. So once again, this wasn't my idea, this was Hungry Boots Gaming idea, so I would really like to give him a big shout out for that, because it did help me for taking care of the bosses while I was mapping. So those would be the skills that I was using. We already checked out the equipment. As for the damage during the campaign, as for the equipment, make sure you pick up every wand and every focus, every amulet, and you just keep slamming it with Orb of Transmutation and Orb of Augmentation, and just trying to get those plus levels, plus spell damage, plus chaos damage. On your focus, you also want to get plus level to all spell skills, plus spell damage. On your amulet, you're also trying to get projectile spells or projectile plus projectile skills or plus spell skills. This was basically, as you can see, requires level 4. This was one of my first amulets that I got. I think I got this at about level 10 with +1 level to all projectile skills. It started to fall off during mapping, so I swapped it with this one because it actually does provide more DPS, and it does give me a lot more life regen. It's the attributes plus some spirit, which helps me with being able to get Blasphemy. On this, I actually allocated Sharpened Claw. It's a very cheap allocate. 30% increased physical damage while shapeshifted, so basically I'm using the allocation only for bossing, which is the skill right over here, the new skill for the druid. Basically it was meant for the druid, so all you need is 1 ire and 2 greeds, which really isn't too expensive. I would recommend putting this on your amulet for now. Very quickly for the ascensions, I actually got 2 ascensions during the campaign, and then the third one. My first ascension was Demonform, my second ascension was Loyal Hellhound, and then my third ascension was Bringer of Flame, just for a little bit of that extra DPS. Bringer of Flame doesn't really provide all that much DPS right now. Maybe it would even be better for farming for me, for mapping in the beginning to use Hellhound, but I just decided to stick with Bringer of Flame. Don't take Altered Flesh too quickly before you get some resistances, some actual resistances, especially your fire resistance has to be like, you know, maybe at least 50% before this becomes worth it. And also chaos resistance is really hard to come by during the campaign. Even now I don't have any chaos resistance on my gear. I'm basically getting all the chaos resistance just from this cluster here from Distant Dreamer. Okay, so passive skills. I do believe I have set this up in a way where you guys can see all of the passive skills. So if you just want to have a look at the entire tree, this is what it looks like right now. For the next few levels, I am going to be taking this point of Insightfulness, and after that the 3 points here to get spell damage and cast speed without Secrets of the Orb, so just this. Hopefully by that time I will have gotten, well, I will have been able to buy Sacrosanctum, because I do want to go full recoup on this Demonform build. I'm probably gonna go physical spells, Bone Cage specifically, with Bone Storm. That is my plan. I'll see how it works out. Right now I'm not yet sure, but yeah, for now this is how the skill tree looks like. And what you want to do once you start the campaign, you just want to take all the damage nodes with the chaos here. Once you start getting weapon set skills, I would start diverging into a chaos setup and a physical damage setup. So for chaos setup, as you can see, I went here to the left, getting Spiral into Insanity, and for the physical setup, I just started taking here Jagged Shards and so on and so forth. Right now that I got into maps, I also was able to start using some points on something else, because we got basically all of the spell damage nodes, chaos spell damage, physical spell damage nodes that I could have. So now I decided to also, because I was getting quite high on the maps, on the tier of maps, I did decide to invest a little bit into defenses here, into Patient Barrier and here into Melding, to get that nice shield, energy shield. So for your weapon set 1, you want to take chaos damage nodes, which you see here with the skill effect duration and magnified area, because remember, while you are mapping, contagion works with magnified area. If you want the contagion and your dots to spread from pack to pack, you want to have as much area of effect as possible, because it makes it a lot cleaner, it makes it a lot smoother. Yeah, so also here I took some chaos damage nodes, just the small ones for the 11%, because gain 11% damage as extra chaos damage basically does nothing for us while we're using Essence Drain Contagion. And while we are using, like if you would have the idea of just putting this not on your weapon sets, but just as normal points and taking gain damage as extra chaos damage for your Bone Storm, it does not work because we are using Brutality, and Brutality makes it so that the skill deals 0 chaos, 0 elemental damage. So also for the Withering Presence, right, while we are mapping, we don't really get the time for those Wither stacks to stack up, which is why Withering Presence is Withering Presence and Wither Away, Wither Magnitude. This is all useless during mapping. For bosses, we don't use chaos damage, so I'm not taking it here as well. Obviously, you want Dark Entries because it does give you +1 level to all chaos skills. You do want Void, which gives you a nice chunk of damage. Plus, when you curse an enemy, it gives them even less chaos resistance. On both sets, you want quite fast if possible, Potent Incantation, because it does give you a lot of spell damage for a little bit of reduced cast speeds. This is fine, we can live with that. And then after you get all of the chaos nodes and you take all of the physical nodes that are kind of in the vicinity, you do want to also path here to get Sacrificial Blood. If you have a lot of life regen, you're basically overcapping your life regen, and you don't care about sacrificing a little bit of life for casting spells, and it does give you a huge boost in damage, so I would recommend taking this as well. But this is during mapping, this is not for the campaign yet. The efficient casting was also during mapping, not during the campaign. What else? For the spell damage and turn the clock forward here, I took this just for the spell damage, not so much for the projectile speed, but it is useful for all of your spells, so you want to put this on, you want to take these notes normally. During mapping, I even went here to get, you know, just a few more projectiles, which I'm not sure about these 4 points. I will probably unallocate them relatively fast, but again, I am trying to just save up for Sacrosanctum to go into a different build and not continue with the whole chaos physical setup. Yeah, on your weapon set too, I would recommend getting Endured Suffering, Tempered Mine, and please go with anything that is like, don't take crits, right, during the campaign, because during the campaign critical hit is not that good, you don't have a lot of critical hit. Also here you don't want to take recoup, you want to take the damage, so make sure you are you're being careful with which pathing you take here. Also, the increased magnitude of impales from cut to the bone is quite nice for the Bone Storm, because then your minions are gonna be doing more damage when they attack. Blood Tearing is probably the last thing you want to get or have to get, because it's not a big damage increase. I just kind of had some extra points, so I decided to take this also. The least efficient part of this tree is probably this part here, so probably anything from here on out. If you want to experiment with your points, I would recommend not taking this part here. I did want to get some chaos resistance. Basically all of the chaos resistance that I have for the mapping comes from this cluster here, as I said before. Also you get some chaos damage, so why not? And I came down here then to grab the Jewel and Stylebender, which does give you some more physical damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the tree goes. Not optimized perfectly, but as I said, this is still a work in progress. We are currently trying to accumulate some currency so that we can do the swap. Maybe quickly to point out the jewels, there are some nice, there are some lovely new mods that you can get. So the ruby, and not just the ruby, I think basically any, yeah, increased damage while shapeshifted, increased damage while shapeshifted. This can be rolled, I don't know if it can be rolled on a emerald as well, but ruby and sapphire definitely both have those. Increased life regeneration rate is obviously good for demon form. Global physical damage is okay, or chaos damage if you get it, or spell damage. But yeah, these were just like the jewels that I got during the campaign. Nothing special, like maybe some increased maximum energy shield, increased cast speed. Minions deal increased damage, even though they basically deal 0 damage. The damage that they deal is based on your impales, is based on your spells, so yeah. That will be it. Let me know if you like the idea, if you like this pathing, if you like the build, if you're gonna also try doing a demon form in case you still haven't started playing yet. I would recommend it. It's really easy, really smooth to get through the campaign with demon form. You do have a very nice, you know, movement speeds, very nice dodge. Also, the cast speed that you get from demon form is really nice. The increased damage that you get is really nice. You do somehow just have to counteract the life regen. Right. While you are in the campaign, I would recommend going every 1 or 2 levels, probably 2 or 3 levels, right? Just go through the vendors, type in regen or regen, and just, you know, keep checking the items if you can get something with good or better regeneration. Life regeneration is what you need to counteract demon form. And do remember, as you level up, as demon form progresses in levels, the life loss per second per demon flame starts to increase, so you will have to keep upgrading your life regeneration. But it's really not something like currently for 10 stacks I need to have at least 140 life regen per second. I'm at 163, like really comfortably. You're able to get the Prisoner's Manacles, if you're able to get the Pariah's Embrace, the unique that I showed you guys before. It's gonna be it's gonna be pretty simple to like to have that life regen stacked up and not have any problems with degenning life. You can always just rely on drinking your flask while you are mapping, so keep your life up. You can also get recover life on kill. You can also get the mod on your gear that gives you life per enemy kill, gain life per enemy killed. So always nice to have that. But yeah, this is my setup. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you had a great league start. Hopefully you didn't have too many bugs and crashes, like the Blasphemy bug that during the campaign, Blasphemy, every time you enter a new map, I kind of had to click Blasphemy on and off because it wasn't working. Now that I'm in maps on a bit of a higher level, it's working nicely. It doesn't have any problems. So just make sure to always check your character if you see this circle. Otherwise, it's kind of buggy and you just have to click it on and off. Hopefully you didn't have too many problems with different bugs and stuff like that. And yeah, have fun. And we'll see you when this build is a bit more finished. And if you guys want to see how I leveled the build, I do have live VODs on YouTube, on Twitch, so you can check it out, except for tier 5 to tier 15 maps, because like I said, I didn't have the option to record today, so unfortunately I don't have that, but everything else you can check it out if you want. And please ignore any momentary saltiness that you see in the video. It was a long campaign, so sometimes it just got to me. Yeah, have fun, and we'll see you in a few days. Bye bye now.